All right, man, peace. So any of you brothers who worked in corporate America for a long period of time knows that when the upper management, when I say the upper management, I'm talking about directors or even the CEO, starts to move around management, it's because they're trying to discern and decipher exactly what their leadership skills are, because they've been receiving numerous reports from the workers underneath them that the manager or the director either is not proficient or is not professional. That's one of the main ways that you're able to characterize the future viability of a manager or director, is placing them in different environments and seeing if they create the same toxic atmosphere or if you're receiving the same reports from the new people that you place them over. Well, in the TV world, it's a bit different. You don't have workers who are going to report on many of these TV figures, these television personalities. So you rely on a few things. Number one, ratings. Number two, certain emails that you might be receiving from your viewership saying they don't like such and such TV personalities because of what they're saying. And at the end of the day, no matter how woke you want to act on TV or what Luciferian or super liberal agenda you want to propagate on your newscast, the bottom line is what counts. And the bottom line is always the almighty dollar. And as I tell you brothers incessantly on this channel, there's always going to be a snapback whenever they attempt these super liberal pushes towards the extreme left. And that is what occurred on the CBS Morning News in the aftermath of the quote-unquote Me Too movement. They took Charlie Rose off the newscast and replaced him with this spineless dude right here, John Dickerson. In addition to that, they added an extra female. And I told you brothers that from here on out, what most of these morning news television shows were going to try to do was to create this paradigm where you would view the woman as the ultimate vessel for knowledge, wisdom, and information. And it seems to have backfired in the face of the CBS Morning News, because as of right now, the entire panel here is going to be reassigned apart from Gayle King. And it's very obvious to me that the reason why they're leaving Gayle King is because she's probably the recipient of the most bad reviews, and they want to see if the viewership still despises her despite the new panel, which is going to be comprised of 2 men and just Gayle King, by the way. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Before we get back to all of that news, and there is a lot of news today, we have some headlines of our own this morning here at CBS. We are announcing some major changes today, moving forward, working to get even better at what we do.
Working to get even better at what we do. The translation for that is people do not like what they're watching. They understand that it's toxically feminine. They're tired of the bullshit. And at the end of the day, a lot of men, I believe, across the country are starting to get tired of the nonsense from these super liberal women. They're starting to do what they should have been doing for a long time. Writing letters, turning the channel, and no longer tolerating the bullshit. Now, I've always said the reason why I like to use the CBS Morning News as a backdrop is because most of their content is at a far higher level than the other morning news television shows. It just is. For example, you're not going to see on the CBS Morning News, okay, now we're going to have a segment on the new fall fashions for women. Or what are the new stylish sneakers for children coming this summer? Like, you're not going to see that on CBS. They're going to have real content. Now, the delivery is going to be bullshit, but that's where I come in, because I can sift through all that so that I can make these videos and provide my perspective to whoever wants to hear it. But at the end of the day, it's very clear to me that Gayle King is not quite aware of what they're setting her up for. All movement is not good movement. And even Norah O'Donnell and John Dickerson are being taken off of the morning news because they're also being reevaluated. Norah O'Donnell has been extremely toxically feminine over the last year and a half or so. And once again, people are tired of listening to that shit. It's like, just give me the news. It's very similar to what occurred at ESPN, where you have people like Jamel Hill and Michael Smith every day trying to give you that wokety woke bullshit with no end game, no plan. And eventually, the viewership of ESPN got tired of it and they got removed. The same thing is happening here. What the news is supposed to be is a vessel or a dispensary of nonpartisan information, or at the very least bipartisan, but preferably nonpartisan. They're incapable of doing that because most of these mainline or these mainstream network TV shows, including the news, are based in Colombian programming. Meaning what? They're trying to push and accentuate the energies of the mother goddess on the people. CBS, they tell you straight out that they're Colombian. That's the name of their network. The Colombian Broadcasting System is for the mother goddess. So they're always going to highlight Luciferian ideologies like feminism, homosexual rights, so on and so forth, fake equality. And that's the reason why so many of these women are so upset right now, because they're being taught philosophies and thought processes that are deleterious to them as people. That's why despite all this so-called empowerment, so-called empowerment propagation that's being dispensed to the people all throughout the quote-unquote Western civilization, women are still woefully depressed. They're selling out antidepressants at every pharmacy because these women talk all this shit all day and they still go home upset at the world.
So you might have been reading about all the speculation. We thought today would be a good day to hear it from the horse's mouth. Hello, horses. Let's start with you, Nora O'Donnell. Let's start with Nora because this is a big day for Nora O'Donnell. She's been named, have you heard?
Nora O'Donnell, MK Ultra news anchor, raised up on an army base in South Korea. She was raised from her childhood to become a TV news anchor, as many of them are. Anytime you see most of these top shelf TV media personalities, they've been prepped for what they're doing.
Anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. In our world of television journalism, there is no job that carries a prouder tradition or a more crucial and current responsibility. Jeff Glor, as we all know, is a fantastic journalist and trusted colleague here. His award-winning reporting has shed light on important issues and highlighted the humanity in our world. His conversations, you should know, with CBS News continue, and we all hope very much that he will continue working here. It will be his decision.
The translation for that is Jeff Glor is getting forced out so that we can make room for Nora O'Donnell on the CBS Nightly News. Why is that? Because grown men are getting tired of waking up in the morning and listening to Nora O'Donnell bitch and complain about Donald Trump on the morning news. So they're going to put her on the nightly news so that she can interview Donald Trump directly, and hopefully Donald Trump will put her in her damn place. But that's why Nora O'Donnell's getting moved. She's an asset. She's an asset out of control. And the people who watch the morning news are tired of listening to her nonsense. And Gayle King, once again, she does not realize how tenuous her hold is on her job right now. Whenever they start moving around prominent people and reassembling scenarios and situations, it's because they're trying to decipher exactly why people do not like you so much.
Nora will take the helm at the CBS Evening News this summer, and starting in the fall, she will anchor from Washington, D.C. That's big. So we focus even more on stories from the center of power that impact the lives of Americans across the country.
Exactly. Once again, Nora O'Donnell is a super liberal, toxically feminine idiot. So since she's so comfortable constantly attacking Donald Trump, they're going to send her over to D.C. so that she can get what she thinks she wants, which is that smoke. She thinks she wants that smoke with Donald Trump, but she's going to find out that she's not going to be able to handle it. Either way, they're going to kill two birds with one stone. They're going to remove her from the morning news, send her over to the evening news, and watch what happens. They want to make sure that she's not having the effect on their broadcast as is being reported by much of their viewership. Now, if the CBS Evening News starts to dissipate and drop off, then you might see them get rid of Nora O'Donnell. But that's why they're moving her. They want to see exactly why people are complaining so much about this panel.
Nora, by the way, will also serve as the network's lead anchor for political coverage, reporting on primaries and election nights across the country. And, yeah, you got a lot of jobs. And she will continue her role as contributing correspondent on 60 Minutes. Bravo, Nora O'Donnell. Bravo.
Thank you. I think about the legacy. I think about the history of CBS News, and it's incredibly humbling to
Oh, please, you're not humble. Get the fuck out of here.
Accept this position. I was looking through some things that Walter Cronkite said,
Yes.
And he...
Wait a minute. You mean you were trying to read through some things that a man said? A man who was a broadcaster from 60 years ago? Are you sure about that? Isn't that against the programming?
Yeah, he said, I can't imagine a person becoming a success in life without giving everything they've got.
I agree with that. What you'll notice, though, Nora O'Donnell, and a lot of you cats out there, you brothers out there will notice if you pay very close attention, is that when people want to be inspired, normally they'll track a quote or some type of philosophy or wording from a man. Now, every once in a while in this modern day time, females will quote other women, but 95% of the time when you hear a woman quoting another woman, it's normally someone quoting either Oprah or Maya Angelou. And it's really just Maya Angelou because Oprah mostly quotes Maya Angelou. But 98% of the time when someone quotes someone from the past or from antiquity who says something of great wisdom or sagacity per se, they're going to be quoting a man.
And so I'm going to give this everything I've got.
I believe that.
And at CBS News, I don't stand on the shoulders of my colleagues. They carry me on their backs.
Yeah.
And so this is
They won't be carrying you for much longer if you keep pissing off the viewing audience. Once again, There are a lot of people out there from all across the country who are getting tired of constantly being reminded about how much the modern liberal female believes that she's a victim. People are getting tired of the victimization agenda, not just of the woman, but of various demographics.
The great moment, I think, for all of us at CBS News is Susan Zirinsky has taken the helm. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Yes.
Susan Zirinsky has taken the helm. Norah O'Donnell does not understand the reason why Susan Zirinsky was hired is so that she can create a friendly face, even though it's going to be her job to be the hatchet person. And I've seen this in the past. I saw this when I worked in corporate America, when they brought in a dude whose job it was to be the hatchet person. He was going to preside over the directors and the managers, and the first thing that he wanted to do was evaluate certain departments that were the recipients of a high amount of complaints. And one of the main things that they always do is move around the management, move around the directors, so on and so forth, so that they can figure out exactly how proficient or how efficient this person is at their job. Why are they receiving complaints? Is it that the people working under him or her are just not equipped for the job? Or is there some substance to the complaints? Is this person inept or inadequate? And are we going to have to move them? Forced movement by new executives is never a good thing. It's almost never a good thing. But once again, Norah O'Donnell, like most liberal females in corporate America, especially the entertainment industry, they're two-dimensional thinkers. They're just so excited about the proposition of more exposure and therefore more attention. The woman is an attention addict. Everybody knows that. And if you don't know that by now, you're going to learn that soon enough. But as you can see, she has this stupid-ass smile on her face. But if she's not able to get the job done, they are going to get rid of her. This time period of this Me Too reckoning is going to come to an end very quickly. The woman, unfortunately for them, most of them are two-dimensional thinkers. So they have a hard time understanding what's around the corner. They see what's straight ahead, but they don't understand what's around the corner. And when around the corner comes, it's normally going to revolve around the bottom line, that being money. The woman, and allowing her to express a lot of her frenetic, emotionally unstable delusions over the national airwaves, is not going to do anything but piss people off. We all know how the entertainment industry works, how it's always worked. It's pretty much always been quid pro quo, especially for females who are good looking. If you want to get on, you got to help somebody else get off. That's how it's always been. So for them to start complaining and claiming that Harvey Weinstein is doing this and R. Kelly is doing that, you knew what the exchange was. You're just not happy because you gave this man fellatio, you gave this man some ass, and you're still not a celebrity.
I think there's been such speculation about it, but the truth is a new era begins, and it's a great era.
Man, listen.
That's what you think. There's only one era in corporate America, and that's make money. If you don't make money, if people are not interested in what you're saying, if you're constantly pissing people off, and you're not providing nonpartisan information, you will be removed.
And you are the third single woman to host an evening broadcast, and you're doing it from Walter Cronkite's chair.
Now, brothers, did you hear that? Gayle King said you're the third single woman to host the CBS Evening News from the Walter Cronkite chair. When she says single woman, she's not talking about her marital status. At least I don't believe so, because as far as I know, Norah O'Donnell is quote-unquote married, or at least allegedly married. I believe that when she says you're the third single woman, meaning you're going to be the only anchor on the panel. That's what she's talking about. So once again, it's all about attention. That's why she highlighted it.
Sure, that's very cool. We're not done yet. Hold on. John Dickerson will be moving across 57th Street. We're on 57th Street, by the way.
Hopefully across 57th Street is some type of physician that can help him with his spine. Because as far as I've seen, this guy has no spine whatsoever. I have no idea how he sits up straight in his chair.
To join 60 Minutes as a correspondent. Did you hear I said 60 minutes? He will bring along all his insight and skills as an interviewer and writer to the #1 news broadcast in the history of TV.
Once again, brothers, they could have had him work with 60 Minutes while continuing to work on the CBS Morning News. The reason why they're removing these people is because their ratings are going down due to their broadcast being almost exclusively toxically feminine.
John will also be a contributing anchor for all of our biggest political nights. Hello, best-selling author. It's not big. 60 Minutes is big.
I know. You know, as a family, we used to gather around and watch 60 Minutes on Sunday night. So that's...
Stop trying to gloss that shit up. Any one of you top shelf CBS anchors can go on 60 Minutes or act as a guest contributor or a guest journalist on 60 Minutes. They're moving your ass over because people do not like how you deliver information to them in the morning. That's a skill. Once again, people are looking for nonpartisan information. They're tired of hearing their news anchors slam Donald Trump or slam this person or slam Democrats or slam Republicans. Just deliver the fucking news. Nobody wants to hear your personal opinion.
That stopwatch ticking is is in my head and has been since a little kid. So that little kid is pinballing all over the place. But as a 60 Minutes correspondent, I have to have some decorum. So I'm not gonna just totally flip out, because I also owe a lot of gratitude to you guys and also everybody here for what's been a great year abroad.
Once again, this new executive that's been hired, Susan Cherinsky or Zerinsky, whatever her name is. Whenever they bring in new executives and they start moving people around, it's because they've been given an official dictate by the higher ups to figure out what the hell is going on here. Why are our ratings going down in the morning? That's all it's about. It does not matter whether the executive is a man or a woman. Their job is to follow orders, because if how they arrange things is not resulting in better ratings, they're going to be fired. It's not going to be like, we're going to keep you because you're a man or we're going to keep you because you're a woman. It's going to be all about the bottom line.
And we'll get to that and our goodbyes, because I'm not going to start blowing my time cues now. Because after a year of behaving, but I'm glad you also mentioned Jeff's accomplishments. But Nora,
and right now Charlie Rose is laying in his bed this morning with a hole on each side. He's butt ass naked with just a cashmere robe on, smoking a cigar in bed, saying, "I know it. I knew they missed me. They should have never let me go."
Nora, what an amazing thing. My mom 60 years ago worked at this network, and I don't think she ever would.
In other words, your bloodline.
Or would have believed that there could be a day where
her fuck up son actually would have a job on CBS. Look at Nora O'Donnell. She just want to laugh. You can tell this broad, she's one of these people who just, off camera, she's just a total wicked witch. Like, she throwing coffee cups and shit. I said I want my latte with 3 creams, bitch. Throwing coffee against the wall and shit. Trying to come on TV and act all nice. Get the hell out of here.
Someone with your skill and talent would be in the anchor chair. So congratulations. I can't wait to see what
Big congratulations.
We were old road warriors out on the campaign trail in our 20s, so...
In other words, you guys had a relationship back in the 90s. That's what you're trying to say.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And along with John's political skills, your charm and musical talent in athletics also played a role in it. Just saying. Back here at CBS this morning, I'm going to be joined by Anthony Mason and Tony DeCopel.
In other words, they're pairing you with 2 men who can control your bullshit. They need more rationale on the CBS Morning News. Brothers, once again, there's a reason why. And remember, they even had this chick, Bianna Gola Rodriguez, whatever the hell her name is. She disappeared. I don't know where the hell she's at. But when you go from having a 3-woman, 1-man panel to a 2-man, 1-woman panel, there's a reason for that. Everything is about demographics and evaluating what the people want. So it's very clear that for the new setup to be 2 men and 1 woman, the gender thing and the constant toxic femininity, it played a role in the shakeup at CBS.
Starting May 20th at the table. Yay! As you know, I think so. Big. There is Anthony with Bruce. 3 decades covering the world for CBS News. Most recently as anchor of CBS This Morning Saturday, as he says. And since joining CBS News in 2016, Tony, as you know, has knocked it out of the park with great reporting and news-making interviews. He's also established himself at CBS Sunday Morning, doing powerful and provocative cover stories. The news should rarely be about us, and sometimes what...
It should never be about you. The news should never be about you. This bro said the news should rarely be about us. No, it should never be about you. Your job is to act as an intermediary between the creators of said news and the recipients of said news. That's it. That's why you're called the media or the medium. You act as an intermediary. That's it. Nobody cares about you, Gayle King. Nobody cares about your wig. Nobody cares about your quote-unquote friendship with Oprah. Nobody cares. People turn on the news to hear about what's going on in the world, and they want to have their information forwarded to them without any agenda-driven dribble.
Sometimes what you read isn't even true. And then can I just take a minute to just go off script about that?
Yeah.
Because here we were Thursday. I know I'm supposed to stick to the script, but I just got to say this. Thursday, I'm flying to London to do the Royal. We're working on a primetime Royal special. The news breaks 1:30. The Gail is elbowing Nora, is insisting that Nora leave CBS this morning. It's so amazing to me, Nora, that after 7 years together, that now people would say that you and I have some beef. I have no beef with you. You have no beef with me. Tina Brown.
Bullshit. You women always have beef with one another. Y'all get on TV and talk all this shit about woman power and the Me Too movement. And at the end of the day, the reason why the woman will never be in control of the earth is because they have no ability to work with one another. The only reason why women combine forces with one another is to try to take down men. I've stated this a very long time ago. Now I have not read or heard anything about there being an issue between Gayle King and Norah O'Donnell, but I will believe it. But at the end of the day, do I think that that's why they're having this shakeup at CBS Morning News? No. They don't change rosters because a couple of chicks are on the panel having beef with one another. It's always about the bottom line. Their ratings are going down, and people are getting tired of listening to a lot of that toxic femininity in the morning. So the shakeup is going to be to bring more men in to hope that there's going to be less drama and, less false information delivery. When I say false information delivery, I'm talking about the way in which it's delivered. People don't want the extra hot sauce on their information. Just tell me what's going on and keep it moving.
Brown summed it up very nicely. She said this never happens to men, this kind of cutthroat business. That
It never happens to men, this kind of cutthroat business. That's interesting. Almost the entire chronology of the world has been based in almost countless narratives of powerful men striving against one another to gain more power. So if every once in a while they throw a couple of women in there, why is that an issue? At the end of the day, if your panel has 3 women and 1 spineless man, if they're going to concoct or create a story about there being a power struggle, it's not going to involve John Dickerson, because anyone with 2 eyes, or anyone blind can even see that John Dickerson is scared of his own shadow. And he would never, ever in his life try to get a woman on that panel fired, because number 1, it wouldn't work. Number 2, he'd probably end up getting fired. So what other story would they try to quote unquote concoct? Sometimes people just have to realize that when they're in a prominent position of visibility, people are going to say certain things. And if it's not true, who cares? You're still getting paid. Gayle King, I'm sure, is making 7 figures a year. So what are you so worried about? When you start talking about this does not happen to men, this only happens to women, once again, that's why they're reshuffling the deck. People are tired of you constantly bitching and complaining at 65 years old about what occurs with women.
That the reality is it's 2 great jobs for 2 great women, she said. And I also think, I know that that's true. I look at Susan Zirinsky, who, if you haven't heard outside the building.
Once again, Susan Zirinsky's job is to evaluate you, Gayle King. I hope that you understand that. That's why she's keeping you on the morning show, because you're probably getting the worst responses. Number 1, you're the only black person on the panel. Number 2, you're extremely obnoxious. You're probably getting the worst responses of anyone on the panel. So she's keeping you on the morning news because she's saying to herself, if we pair Gayle King with 2 men and she still comes off as someone who's toxic, then we're going to have to fire her. They're not going to fire Norah O'Donnell and John Dickerson. They're just going to reassign them. They're going to fire your ass.
Is a badass in our building. She's our new CBS president. And when she announced that
all that badass bullshit. All these executives, all they do is follow orders. That's it.
Announced that when it was announced she was taking this job in January, she said there's going to be some changes.
What that translates to is you guys are not getting good ratings.
There's going to be some changes. She's going to look at the lay of the land and decide. She could have come in here with a weed whacker and we'd all be on 57th Street going taxi. But what she decided to do.
Well, why would she do that if you guys were successful, Gayle King? Unfortunately, when people are super liberal or they're agenda driven, they continue to do the same things despite the fact that what they're doing is obviously not working.
It was take a look and see what she thought would work best,
right,
and what job would suit our role. This is a business about ratings.
Ding! You're finally getting there. You're finally getting there. Stop trying to gloss over it and act as if the reason why you guys are getting moved is for better job opportunities. You guys are not getting good ratings because the energy that you're projecting is always based in complaining and victimization.
And when the ratings don't work, they make changes. And so they're making changes that they hope will lead to better things.
Yes, and the next big change is going to be your ass getting fired. They're going to say, Gayle, we appreciate you. We've had conversations with Oprah. We've already let her know that we're going to have to let you go. Oprah says that she created a new account for you on monster.com so that you can send out your resume. We no longer want you here, Gayle King.
And I believe, I'm with you. I'm going to give it 110% too.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. What have you been giving it so far? You've been giving about 90%? Because when somebody says I'm going to give it 110%, what they really mean is I'm going to give it 100% because I've been bullshitting before this.
Yeah.
As will you, John.
Yeah.
As will you. We're all very excited about it.
You gave me some great advice, and Oprah gave me some great advice not to listen to those in the cheap seats. It's not the critic who counts.
Yes.
And I know you have Oprah, but I want to thank you.
Well, I have news for you guys. You do have to listen to the people in the cheap seats when you're in entertainment, when you're on television, I'm talking about. Because the people in the cheap seats are the viewership. So you do have to listen to them. And if you don't listen to them, what's going to happen to you is what's happening to you now. That's why I tell you brothers all the time about the snapback. The snapback is going to come. But once again, the woman by nature is very, very proud. It's very difficult for a woman to acknowledge that she's wrong. I promise you, over the course of your life, you may have heard a woman say that she was wrong about something once, maybe twice. It's very difficult for a woman to say, I was wrong. They talk about the arrogancy and the pride of men. That pales in comparison to the ego and the pride of the woman. So they're always going to try to justify everything that they've done. Whatever moves are being made either by them or on them, they're going to try to gloss over it and they're going to try to sugarcoat it. At the end of the day, you're being reassigned because people do not like you in your current capacity.
For being my work BFF.
Oh, thank you.
You have made me better in everything I have done.
Well, I don't know about that. You know, even going to Washington. I don't know about that.
Hey,
let me weigh in. Yeah.
Even going to Washington.
Compliment.
I know Kirby says, Mom.
Nora O'Donnell said, accept the compliment because I didn't mean it. At least just accept this for now because Nora O'Donnell knows that they're going to get rid of Gayle King. She knows that.
Mom, please don't talk too long because most people don't even know what you're talking about. They're not following this the way you are.
Yeah.
But it has bothered me because even, you know, we've had a lot of bad press coming from inside the building, which I think is very disturbing to me.
You've had a lot of bad press coming from inside the building. Why is that? Is it because maybe even some of the people that work for CBS are tired of you guys every morning with your partisan rants against Donald Trump or against whoever it is, as opposed to just talking about what is occurring? Could that be it? Well, because you have very little ability or very minute ability to self-assess, you therefore cannot correct yourself. You cannot recalibrate yourself. In corporate America, everything is political. And if you can't play the political game, you either should leave or extricate yourself from that environment, or you're going to be extricated. And once again, many of these people, they just don't get it. They don't get it. That's why I say this all the time. Men for the most part have the ability to tolerate some of the ramblings of the people in their life who mean something. It's very difficult to tolerate ramblings from people who you don't care about. That's why it behooves you to be buttoned up, especially in a professional capacity. And so much of what goes on today in corporate America is about them trying to force together the two genders in a platonic environment. But the emotions of the woman are always going to come out. So if she's having trouble in her personal life, it's going to come out in how she conducts herself with men, even on the job. It's what's known as microaggression. Microaggression is when a woman has a hang up or a man has a hang up about something, and it starts to come out in environments or atmospheres where it's not supposed to come out or emanate. That's why those people should seek therapy. Therapy is for people to learn how to control a lot of their baggage and a lot of their issues so that it does not erupt in the wrong environment. And every morning on the morning news, you see the baggage of so many of these liberal females coming out and erupting when it should not. And they have no understanding of that. They have no wherewithal. That's why they get removed. And most of these liberal females, they're going to end up alone in their living room crying, not understanding why they're in that position. No job, no man, etc.
Because I think most people that work here support, respect, admire each other, cheer each other on.
Allegedly. All that corporate support stuff is bullshit. Corporate America is a rat race. It's all people for themselves. That's it. Nobody really likes anybody else in corporate America for the most part, unless you form little cliques or little bastions of support so on and so forth. Like when I was in corporate America, I always tried to make sure that I developed a strong rapport with the other so-called black men that were there, because that's important. But at the end of the day, in corporate America, everybody knows that that shit is cutthroat.
Even going to Washington was Susan Zirinsky's idea, not yours, but I think that it makes...
Of course it was her idea, not Nora O'Donnell's. Dummy. What do you think Susan Zirinsky was saying? She was saying that Nora O'Donnell is not someone who's the recipient of high marks on the morning news. They're tired of her. Say, for example, if you work in a corporate office and in your department, you have to answer the phones. When a new executive comes on or a new manager comes on and they're evaluating you, if they say, you know what, we think that you'd be better off the phones. We think that you'd be better doing this. What are they saying? They're saying in a roundabout way that they've been receiving a lot of complaints about you on the phone. Hello?
It will make everything better and different. So I am cheering you on, and in the words of Grace Tracy, your daughter, we all want to crush it like a popsicle. That's what she says to Nora when she comes to watch us on.
We will stick to the values.
We're all very excited.
Look, brothers, I say this all the time. Women are wonderful. They're beautiful. As long as they're maintained in their appropriate environment. When you put them into the corporate world, or you put them into any environment or atmosphere that involves projection out to the masses, they're not going to do well, because the woman is meant to act as a support for her man. That's when she's at her ultimate. That's when she's at her optimum. When you place her in environments where there's responsibility that entails a certain amount of high level professionalism and objectivity, it's very difficult for them because they're so emotional. And that's why you see that they create these toxic atmospheres in the workplace.
Excited about
CBS News, original reporting,
yes.
Great storytelling.
They're saying wrap it up, Gail.
Yes, original reporting. Original reporting and great storytelling. In other words, you guys concoct lies and make shit up.
They're saying wrap it up, which is why I want to take 45 minutes or so to give my remarks.
Oh, please. You don't want to say shit. You a yes, dear man. That's what you are. Everything with you is yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Dear, is it okay if I remove your foot out of my ass? I want to use the bathroom.
Carry on.
Okay, and now, thank you all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. I just wanted to make this video because it's so humorous to me how things turn out, especially when you can see it coming from a mile away. So peace.